You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast following a nail biter that didn't quite have to be. 4-3 the final score after Ottawa jumped out to a 4-0 lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm Ross Levitan. With me as always, Brandon Pillar and at Lalim's Martian. Martian, we got to start with you, buddy. What's the winning lottery ticket number tomorrow?
Yeah, I wish I knew, Ross. I had a bit of a heater tonight, though.
No question. Not only did you call this morning that Brady Tkachuk could be in for a 2-goal night, the guy hasn't scored in 15 games. He gets both, and then you also mix in the first goal scorer, Brady Tkachuk. You've got the final score proper. Unbelievable stuff there, Martian. And Pilsy, they score a minute 11 in. That just sets the tone in this one, doesn't it?
Another great momentum goal, Ross. Finally, these are going the Sens' favor. And of course, we all wanted Gaudette to get that first goal because, Ross, he was your guy for this game. Martian, I know you had a couple shekels on Gaudette too, but for Brady Tkachuk to get the monkey off his back, and aren't those goals always the most hilarious ones when they're waiting, trying to get, it had been 61 shots since Brady got a goal, and then he just fires it from behind the net, it hits off Aho and in, and the floodgates are rolling, and Brady's not going to stop there.
Oh, not at all. This was a fantastic opening period for the Ottawa Senators, jumping over top of a team that had to travel after their first half of the back-to-back. First time the Senators have had 2 games in a row this year. It's their 8th set of back-to-backs, but the first time where there's no travel involved and you stay at home. And I think that did make a difference in tonight's game, but not only did that make a difference, but when you're getting great goaltending, which the Sens have had since January 2nd, it makes things a whole hell of a lot easier, Martian. Even though it was 4-0 at this point in one point in this game, Anton Forsberg definitely deserves a bunch of these stick taps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he made over 40 saves, right? So, really, really great effort out of him tonight, even though, the defensive structure at the end of the game there was a little scary. I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely getting a little sweaty as it was 4-2, then 4-3. He held in there, and he was definitely the biggest reason that why they were able to hang in there and win the game tonight. It was the first 2 periods were all him. There was tons of chances where, Aho was getting chances. Some of Carolina's more skilled guys were getting chances. Svechnikov, we got a little help with the buzzer beater there in the first period. Forsberg, for a backup goalie, that's what you want. And I do consider him obviously the backup goalie the way Matt Murray's been playing. So if your backup goalie can come in there and put in an effort like that and give you a chance to win, that's all you can ask for him.
Yeah, it's truly incredible. And you look at the 2 games Anton Forsberg played against Carolina. Matt Murray got the overtime loss in Ottawa just a couple weeks ago. But Anton Forsberg, 47 saves in Carolina. He makes 42 saves tonight to get the win. And we talked about it this morning, Pilsy, on Locked On Senators, how they needed to get a bounce-back performance after you called it a decent start against Anaheim. I wanted to see a little bit more on the goals against, but the game against the Islanders, he would tell you that wasn't his best hockey either. So for Forsberg to bounce back, and now you've got a bit of a dilemma because you've got the back-to-back on the weekend as well, or do you? We'll get this out of the way. I think knowing who the opponent is on Thursday, you're going back to Matt Murray.
Yeah, we talked about this. I really think you got to give Matt Murray a chance for the revenge game. And he's been hot this entire 2022, starting January 2nd. But now Forsberg's playing well too. And I knew this team was only going to have a chance to win tonight if Forsberg was on his game. And he really was. So like you mentioned, Martian, he had to make a bunch of big saves on some big-time players. And up until the end, where I would say it was more of a defensive collapse rather than Forsberg, he really kept this team in the game. And the Sens they find a way to last and to win on a second half of a back-to-back game up against the 4th best team in the NHL. So the boys got to be proud for this one. And there's a lot of positives in this game.
So many positives, but let's do it like a sandwich, as Pilsy likes to say it. So the meat of this game, what fans are going to be talking about is how does a 4-3 game start 4-0? How did the Senators let this one slip, still in their reach, but slip from being an easy 2 points to having a battle to the last clear of the game with 5 seconds left, Pels?
Yeah, I think just eventually, the Hurricanes, they have so much talent up front. Eventually, they're going to get through here. And it's Svechnikov starts the scoring. And Brendan Smith, not really a goal scorer, but that was one hell of a shot with traffic in front too. Not much chance for Forsberg there. And then Vincent Trocheck, he just makes a quick, smart play at the half wall and catches Forsberg not quite ready for a quick shot. And then you're looking at 3 goals that happened really quickly there, and the Sens are on their heels. And anytime the Carolina Hurricanes are going to get an extra attacker for this amount of time, whether it's through the power play or pulling the goalie, they're going to put a lot of pressure on this team. And that's what happened at the end there. Luckily, the Sens were able to hold off, because I think if this game went to overtime, the momentum was insanely in the Canes' favor.
And Martian, you mentioned that after Nito Niederreiter's penalty, was it against Austin Watson? You mentioned that it looked like the refs put their whistles away for a little bit as well.
Yeah, they had old Rod Brendamore freaking out on the bench there. And, you get a big, scary guy like him, well-respected around the NHL. Half these refs probably grew up watching him. So maybe they got a little bit afraid of old Rod the Bod up on the bench there. It did seem like they kind of put the whistles away. There's a few minor infractions that I think they could have called that they just didn't. And it was against, it was not in a Senators' favor, right? It was like they were almost trying to get Carolina back into it. It kind of felt like, but didn't work.
No, there was lots of special teams tonight, though. 5 power plays for the Ottawa Senators. They convert on 1, and it was the goal that, in all likelihood, put this out of reach. Ultimately, it ends up being the game-tying goal, technically, as the Sens get the 4-3 win. But at the point, Brady Tkachuk gets his 14th of the year, 2nd of the game on the power play. And, man, I quickly want to go back to how Pillsy said it. Like, you get 60 shots, and then all of a sudden, it's that goes in. But his second one, a little bit better. He's standing right in his office, and the rebound comes right to him, puts it home, makes no mistake. So not only do they score in the first minute and a half of the first period, they get one in the first minute of the second period. So those momentum goals carried them, and certainly you start clenching your teeth a little bit when Andrei Svechnikov scores 2 minutes into the third period. But the boys battled through it all, and I think that they deserve a lot of credit in this one, despite the goals going in. Like Trocheck's the one with 1 minute and 12 seconds. Pillsy, you said it. You have the empty net for that long. It's going to happen. And Brendan Smith's goal, just a seeing eye shot through traffic. What are you going to do? You just kind of have to shake your head and roll with the punches. And I thought the Senators did a good job of that, is not collapsing in their structure. Yeah, they gave up multiple goals en route, but I didn't think that there was a collapse by any point. It was just, hockey, random bounces, in my opinion. So I did think this was a great effort for the Ottawa Senators, and 4 points in a back-to-back. Nothing wrong with that.
No, and talk about defensive structure. How about having Tim Stützle out there in the last minute of the game? Like, you gotta love to see that, right? Like, not exactly the scenario you expect him to be in on any given night, but here we are. So love to see that Timmy, and they're playing well.
2-point Timmy tonight. Pair of assists for the young German superstar. Played over 20 minutes. Make that 20-44, although 7.5 on the power play. So he's not in his D zone grinding away for all that. But you mentioned it. He's out there in the last minute of the game. They iced the puck, which it's fine, especially the first one, because Connor Brown knows they're up 2 goals at that point. So why not just take your shot, go for the net? But
I'm glad he didn't.
I didn't love how they had him taking the face-off against Jordan Staal with 1 minute left in the game. That was about as automatic of a win for Jordan Staal. You need Nick Paul out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think even who else was on the ice there? I think Tkachuk was on the ice, was he not?
I think it was. Yeah, it was Tkachuk and Connor Brown. But we're hearing more and more that Brady's got a problem with his finger. And true. I don't know if that's a reason. He was still 67% in the circle tonight, but I'm going to assume just based on that number that he took 3 and 1-2 without having it right in front of me. Yeah, he took 9, won 6 of them. So, yeah, I don't know why he's not the guy taking that. They're both left shots, so it's not like you're going to the guy's dominant side. But you know what? It might be a moot point because not a whole lot of guys are beating Jordan Staal in those important faceoffs late in games. So you just had to draw it up the way they did. And yeah, Derek pointed out even Kaslik, who's played great in faceoff dot, would be a good choice. And Kaslik tonight, again, 71%, 5 and 2 in the dot for Mark Kaslik. This guy, I mean, you're going to have to set the parameters as low as possible for minimum draws taken right to where he is. But if you do, he's definitely in the top echelon of the league. I think he's up at like 75% in his career right now. So that's fantastic. I see people writing in these grades. We know we did our grades at the halfway mark. I'm not listening to anything that somebody who has Connor Brown as a C+ this year and Nick Paul as a C. Those rankings just go right out the window. So if you want to reference numbers, you can do Locked On Senators report cards where Pilsy was a little harsher than I was. But hey, look at this, Martian. You got some love coming in for you in the chat, and more so than people just asking for what the lottery numbers and all that was after you had an absolute night on the gambling scene. Shout out betonline.net. All right, let's get into our Sens Central standouts in this game. I'm going to start. I'll take the low-hanging fruit, goalie-friendly show. Nice. It's Anton Forsberg, and I want to reference exactly what I was hoping to see from him that I mentioned in this morning's show, and that's his pads staying flat on the ice when he's battling in front of the net. And there were two sequences early on in the first half of this game where he did just that. It was like almost like that Brady play where he comes out from the corner and tries to jam away, and he just stayed strong, no panic. And certainly it worked out in his favor as guys like Holden are clearing pucks off the line for him too. So you got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. And that was Anton Forsberg's night. And you got to just give him some stick taps, some respect, and hope he's ready to go here. He's either going to play against Boston or Washington next weekend. He's got one of those starts. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, boys. But if they somehow beat the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is easier said than done, and then somehow beat the Boston Bruins on Saturday, I might say the P word in Monday's Locked On Senators. I might say
for it. Hey, it's your show. Do whatever you want, man. I love it.
Hey, we're known as a positive show. So P for positivity and P for another Pilsy. Word. I'm not even going to get there. Yeah, Pilsy.
P for Pilsy, P for
that
patience.
definitely works. But hey, there's a lot of hockey left. Like, it sounds crazy, and they're still so far out of this that I'm not even thinking that yet. But I won't shut it down, Ross. I won't.
The games in hand get me fired up. That's all I'm saying. The games in hand gets me fired up.
And you got guys coming back from injury. Hopefully that's going to help. So, yeah, let's go.
Boys, it's a great night in the Sens organization. The chat's going wild for a 5-0 Belleville Senators win. We can touch on that real quick, and then we'll get back to our Sens Central standouts. I've got my Anton Forsberg. These boys still have to go around the clock, but Michael Del Zotto had 3 more points. Like, this guy is
poor guy. Honestly, I feel bad for Michael Del Zotto. He's just absolutely buried in the minors, lighting it up, and living in Belleville.
Probably fun, no? Like, it must be fun being the best player on the ice.
This guy used to play for the New York Rangers.
I'm at MSG.
Now he's playing for the Belleville Senators. And he still thinks, I'm guaranteeing you that he still thinks he's got it, right? Like, he still thinks he can play. He probably knows he can play, and he's in the wrong organization. He should never have signed here as a free agent, because I'm sure I heard he had other options on the table, but the way the Sens are set up right now with some of the young defensemen and the other log jam that they have here on the back end, he just doesn't fit. So
you guys don't think he's having fun?
Bell Vegas, when you're lighting it up, what a time. And he's getting paid his NHL salary, Martian. Like, $2 million bucks can go a long way.
Yeah, but what's he going to do with that money? He's just saving it. There's nothing to do with it.
There's a great Shoeless Joe's. Ross and I have visited Wendy's a bunch.
Number 6 combo.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, buddy. There you go. Hey, guys, just while we're touching on Belleville, I was looking through their schedule. March 4th and March 5th, Aaron Dell's Rochester Americans are in Belleville. I think that Sens fans need to get on their bus, in their cars, and go down to Belleville and let Dell hear it for that. So, there's lots.
Hopefully Scott Sabrin's healthy for that. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, Dylan Hetherington can do something. There's some guys down there that are tough. True. So, hopefully, Goldburn, he hasn't been in the lineup for a long time. He's been hurt too, but he's a tough customer they got in the offseason. So, all right, talk about getting way off track, but why not when it's a 5-0 win in Belleville, where Roby Jarventi has 2 points as well, and Max Gannett, a 2-point game for him as well. So just good vibes after a 4-3 win in regulation too. Derek Lisa and send Watson down for that game. I wouldn't be against that, boys. That would be
I like that.
And Matt saying that Del Zotto played in Columbus last year, so basically Belleville of the Midwest. So it's a 4-3 win tonight, and we're going to break more of this down on Locked On Senators tomorrow, your first listen of the day, which we do appreciate. Free and available Monday through Friday, anywhere you download your podcast, but we always love how active the chat gets after Senators victories. We had one tonight. I've got Anton Forsberg. Pilsy, who is your number one standout in tonight's game?
Well, I think just the way Nick Holden has been playing lately, we got to give stick taps to him. Like you mentioned it, Ross, if you're going to give stick taps to Forsberg for saving some goals, well, you got to also give the same respect to Nick Holden because he saved a couple that squeaked by Anton Forsberg here. He was blocking shots. He's got 5 blocked shots tonight. And then, like, if you were saying that on its own, that's enough. That's what we want to see from Nick Holden. How about 2 apples on the night too? And he's got goals in back-to-back games before. Like, this guy's starting to find his groove. I really think it was an amazing move by Holden. I think he approached the Senators, was like, I want to stay here. They got him signed. Now he doesn't have to stress. His family can stay there, and he can just focus on playing hockey. And we've seen him really shine lately, especially with Artem Zubov as his partner. They get all the tough assignments, and they're shutting them down and creating offense. Damn.
Yeah, super impressive tonight from that Senators D pair. If you had to guess which Sens defenseman had the worst Corsi percentage tonight, who would you guess?
Zaitsev?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great guess. Great guess.
When he was on the ice, there were 6 shot attempts for and 23 against.
Sheesh.
How are we feeling about that?
I'm not feeling very good because he's bringing Shabbat down with him.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I know Shabbat's not happy about that. Like
no, how could he be?
Yeah.
By the way, Ridley Gregg just scored a tie game with Brandon on a breakaway with like 2 minutes left in the game. They win in overtime.
There we go.
Another night at the office for Ridley Gregg. Huge night in the organization. And we should mention, we'll again get more of this into Unlocked on Senators, just while we're talking about absolutely everything, getting way off track as the boys like to do. Jake Sanderson officially on a plane to China. He will be participating in the Olympics. Probably not in their first game, but their second game is against Canada. So that'd be awesome. The Owen Power, Jake Sanderson show would be great. Great theater on Friday morning. So, man, just great vibes. 100%. Talk about splitting up our Sen Central standouts, eh? Pilsy's got
it's a little bit of a tease. We're just making everyone stay and wait so they can hear a little cutie boy down here what his opinion is.
Yeah, hey, cutesy, what's going on with the Took? You ready to go? What's the standout?
You don't like that?
No, I love it. That's sharp.
No, you look great, buddy. You look great.
Thanks, buddies. My standout is Brady Tkachuk. My buy.
I left that one for you.
Yeah, you teed me up there, Pilsy. Thanks. Hard to ignore. 2 goals. I think 3 hits, 7 shots on net. Nothing wrong with that. That's a typical Brady Tkachuk, and like we said earlier, he's doing it while he's a little bit banged up at the moment too with that upper body injury. So great to see him get the monkey off his back, or maybe even the zoo off his back, if you will. So Brady Tkachuk is my standout. He's doing it all, guys. And this is the thing. Brady could have not scored tonight, and he still would have been a standout for me because he does everything away from the offensive side of the game that you love to see, right? He hits hard. He's physical. He's an intimidating presence out there, and he gets pucks in deep, and the boys love that. So, and the guys, like, we can't understate enough how he's doing it without his 2 regular line mates either, right? Like, I mean, obviously, Stützle's no slouch to be playing with, but Brady's got his chemistry with his regular guys, and they're not around right now. So he's doing everything he can. He's putting the team on his back, and that's captain shit.
It absolutely was. At even strength tonight, Stützle, Gaudette, and Brady Tkachuk played the most together, 6:37. Actually, identical time on ice as Kaslik, Tierney, and Ennis, the third line on paper. But again, it was super even. There was no – DJ's done a great job of this. And I think I said the exact same thing last night, but it still continues to go on. The consistent ice time between all the forwards on this team, and that's going to help them down the stretch here as they continue to play 5 games in 7 days and 11 games in 20 days. You have to be able to maintain stamina throughout. You can't tire out your top guns, and especially when half your top guns aren't even there. So I want to see more of this from DJ. I think that he's done a phenomenal job here in December, January, and now into February at making sure everybody is feeling it and everybody's ready to go. But again, Adam Gaudette, so he plays 6.5 minutes with Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle, but he only plays 850 in the game, least amount of any forward. It's strange, but hey, I don't mind it. He's a hired gun. Like, they know what he does well. Go out there for your 8 to 10 minutes and just shoot the puck.
Offensive zone faceoffs only.
Yep. He's got to be up there in ozone draws. No question about that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Ross, just while we're talking about ice time management, the thing is, too, like, DJ Smith can only do that if he trusts these guys and if they give him results, right? Like, we've seen nights where he tries to get other guys going and they just fall flat, so he's got to lean on one line more than the other. And then you get those big lopsided nights. Or other D pairs don't have it and Shabbat's got to play 30 minutes. That's not happening anymore. And even despite these injuries, guys like Gaudette, guys like Ennis, guys like Kaslik, they're really showing that they can elevate their game and they can be used in scenarios where normally DJ would just hand it over to the top guys. So I think, and Tim Stützle is a great example, like him being out there for that final minute is massive vote of confidence from DJ Smith. So for him to give the players the opportunity and them to kind of meet his expectations is what's allowing this good game management to go forward and a time on ice management. And that's going to be crucial with all these games coming up here. So the Sens are, they're in stride now and they're looking real nice lately.
But if we are going to nitpick, what are we doing here on defense? Like, what's the play? Do you think DJ Smith is really going to stick with Zaitsev alongside Shabbat until the bitter end? Is he going to die on this hill?
He won't. No, I don't think he will. I don't know. They got to do something there, right? Like, but what are you going to bury Zaitsev on the third pairing? That's what
I'd put him in the press box, honestly.
Yeah, or put him in the press box.
Do you think they're showcasing him for a trade, maybe?
For who?
I mean, yeah, that's a great question, but they got to do
Retain
something.
Some salary, I guess you'll have to, right?
My God,
keep some money and try to get him out of there if you can. I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't know if there's a trade market for Nikita Zaitsev in that deal right now.
No,
but
probably not.
Right? Someone could go down with an injury, and they could, maybe another team who's contending might need him, right? Might need a right hand D man, and you know how the trade market gets around the trade deadline. Teams get desperate, and let's hope.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just looking at his counting stats, he killed 4.5 minutes of penalties, had 6 hits and 4 block shots. But I'm also looking at 2 giveaways and just poor play in front of his own zone. He's a -2 again. Doesn't mean everything, but when you win 4-3, you're -2.
Yeah, and he's got that $2 million signing bonus coming. When is that? June 1st or
July, whatever. It's not the first this year, a little bit after.
It is. So
yeah,
they're going to do everything they can to avoid paying that thing too. So
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Otherwise, we're just going to have to deal with watching him for the rest of the season here and see if they can get something done in the offseason. And if not, we're stuck with them next year too. But
yeah, and the year after.
Oh, yeah. Just another year after that?
Is there not? Or is it this year and one more?
I think it's this year and one more, but I mean,
maybe
I would
just
be
give
surprised.
Really bad news, Ross.
No, 2 more.
Yeah, okay. So they got to do something about that.
They have to. He can't play on this team for 2 more seasons after this one.
Yeah.
It just can't
It's
happen.
not the same timeline.
No, exactly. Yeah, and like Sanderson's coming. You're hoping JBD, Lassie Thompson go. And Happy Gilmore writes in a great point. Would you rather? Oh, if I could figure this out, nice. Wow, I was all over the place here. That's with Zaitsev. We've got here from Happy Gilmore. Would you rather have Zaitsev or Cece?
Depends. Are they putting Cece with Shabbat?
Yeah.
No,
I
hate
that question.
What's Cece's deal though right now? I think the money.
I think he got like 4x4 in the offseason. But that was
the Oilers. The Oilers were stoked on him. Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
they're making the same?
Yeah, pretty much.
Honestly, I'd still probably go Zaitsev just because CC's highlights in my brain are just so bad.
Sam makes a good point here, though. He goes, "I'd rather Connor Brown," and of course, you got Connor Brown in that trade as a way of making some value off of it. So Kevin saying CC is a hometown boy, yeah, but they're just, anyways, brutal contract. There's no getting around it. Although the only hope, because Derek makes a good point too. Like the organization genuinely thinks he's a good defenseman, and that's where the evaluation comes in, and where you really start to get curious. Like, how do you do such a good job of recognizing Jake Sanderson's talent and like what he does well and how that's going to translate, but then also be like, no, this guy's an elite defender.
Do you think that they actually do think he's an elite defender though, or do you think they're just kind of like trying to pump him up, like we said, for the trade?
Maybe they've gaslit themselves into believing it.
Yeah,
you can't take what they say publicly at face value either, though. About a
That's
guy
true.
who, they're playing head games with the media and other GMs and stuff too, to try to, change other people's minds on him too. And What are they going to say? Yeah, this guy's garbage, but we're stuck with him? No.
Yeah, well, they haven't changed, I don't think, the minds of many Sens fans. Although, on the flip side, and I think this would be a good final point here, then we'll go over the scoring summary, get some final questions. So if you have any questions, hit us that in the chat. But for my final point that I want to get out of you is Josh Brown, another pretty solid game from an old number 3 back there.
You like that?
I like this game tonight. I gotta say, I'd say since the Sens turned it around here, he's been a decent player.
Hey, you might say he was just scratching the surface.
Yeah,
or something
nice.
like that. Hey, Ross. Yeah, I mean, he's really coming around. He's definitely, he's a third pairing defenseman. He is what he is, but he plays well when he's got someone who's mobile, who he can just, get the puck over to, and they can do the, the passing. But even his passing's been all right too so far recently. So he's getting in the lanes, he's blocking shots, he's playing physical, he's boxing out, he's doing all the things that Josh Brown is supposed to be doing. He's doing them well. I mean, people still want to complain about him. That's fine. I don't think he's reading your tweets, guys. So it's all good.
You're relaying the information through a buddy, and he's gonna hear. So at least he's hearing that things are better here. Now, there's some notes that Pierre McGuire and a pro scout were at the Bruins Penguins game tonight. I'm not thinking imminent trade. I'm thinking more those are 2 teams that Ottawa plays in the next 2 games. So why not? Sure. If they're both playing tonight, then why not?
I think they just got McGuire down in the States. He's trying to avoid all the regulations right now. Probably. So he's boots on the ground down in South, and he's going from rink to rink to rink, and that's what he loves. So
yes, he does.
You'll never work a day in your life if you're Pierre McGuire working at the hockey rink.
Man, some days must still be more stressful than others when things aren't going his way, which, well, you could have said at the start of the year, and still he's the guy who pushed for the Michael Del Zotto signing and whatnot. So there is still that to worry about. But tonight, there's no worries. The Senators, they got back-to-back wins, 4 out of 4 points, and they have a chance to continue that on Thursday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Wonder if there'll be anything further to the whole John Marino, Brady Tkachuk scrap at the end of the last meeting between their 2 games. So, well, that's interesting in itself. Interesting game tonight as well. The scoring summary brought to you by the Locked On Senators podcast. We start out with a first goal on home ice. First goal in 15 games for Brady Tkachuk. Assists go to Tim Stützle and Nick Holden. All 3 of those guys ended up with multi-point games, but it was 7 minutes later that Alex Formenton got his 10th goal of the year. Double-digit goals for Alex Formenton. Connor Brown, his 16th assist, and Nick Paul, his 5th assist on that one. In the second period, same scoring summary. Tkachuk from Stützle and Holden, 40 seconds in, power play goal. And then Chris Tierney walking down Main Street, scores unassisted, 4-0 Senators. The Hurricanes storm back with 3 goals in the third period, but it's not enough as Anton Forsberg stood tall, making 42 saves. Pilsy, what's your final evaluation on this one? And yes, let's get some dubs in the chat as well on a Senators win.
My final evaluation is this is an incredible win for the boys to have to go up against the Canes in a back-to-back situation. Sure, we talked about some of the advantages. They get to stay at home. Canes are in overtime and they have to come over to Ottawa. But still, any goalie they're feeling confident with, the legs are a little tired. Doesn't matter. DJ Smith is managing the ice time. It really seems like this team is now, I think a couple weeks ago I was saying the process is there, but the results aren't. Well, now the process and the results are there, and it's good vibes all around in Sensland.
Martian, how you feeling about this one? What are you waking up feeling like tomorrow morning after this one?
Feeling pretty good. 2-game win streak. I'm going to be a happy camper when I wake up in the morning thinking back to this one. I'll probably watch the highlights first thing in the morning. It's nothing better than watching Chris Tierney score with his stick for once. So.
We like going through the box score just for a couple notes here. How about 5 shots on goal for Alex Formenton in this one, getting 6 minutes on the power play as well. So this was an interesting game, and really Formenton just dominates the Hurricanes. He scored more goals on Antti Raanta, they said in the broadcast, than any other goalie in the NHL.
Yeah, he's got 15 goals in his career, and 4 of them are on Raanta.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he likes shooting on Antti Raanta, and I think they kind of tipped him off in the intermission interview there too. They let him know that you're having a lot of success shooting on Antti Raanta. He's like, I didn't really know that. So,
yep.
He realized it, and then in the third period, I think he had 4 shots. So pretty funny.
He's like, I got to put him on net.
What What do you think about him on the power play, though? I think like he's kind of nice with it, you know?
I think like
he's kind of nice with it, you know?
Yeah, I like him there a lot.
Oh,
Well, Pillsy mentioned there
absolutely.
was that joke where they looked up to Norris and said, "You're down on the second unit when you get back."
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'm, I don't think I'm going right that far. But Formanton, man, if he's proven to be a top six forward, that makes things look a lot nicer going into next season.
Yeah, let's call him a bottom six forward or middle six forward
Until he signed?
until we get
There
that
we
deal
go.
done
Yeah,
off
smart.
season, because that's going to be an interesting one. I wonder what kind of term he'll be looking at and what kind of dollar value too, right? Because if he keeps scoring, if he puts up 20, we were talking about it just right before we hopped on. If he puts up 20 goals, I mean that's a nice little feather in his cap for negotiation season.
Yep, no question. The Senators will have a busy offseason with Alex Formanton, Josh Norris, and Eric Branstrom all restricted free agents, and many more UFAs, including Nick Paul. We've got lots more to get into on this game and looking ahead and all around Senators land, because I mentioned Ridley Gregg scored one. Well, he actually scored another one. So Brandon gets a 3-1 win. Ridley's got 2 goals there. Sanderson's going to the Olympics. The Belleville Sens, led by their young stars and their wily vet, Uncle Deli, get a 5-0 victory on the road to start a trip. And the Ottawa Senators just took down the 4th best team in the National Hockey League. Their second win in 3 games against Carolina. They get 5 out of a possible 6 points. So you got to feel good about that. DJ Stealth, just because they were so nice and complimentary to you, Martian, I was in the middle of my sign off, but we can always ask a great question because there is a hole in the top 6. I think long term for the Ottawa Senators, it'd be great to get 1, maybe 2 top 6 forwards. I'll go with you, Martian. Who would you rather have between Brock Besser or Clayton Keller? Forget about the cost to acquire each of those guys. What skill set? More of a playmaking guy like Keller or a shooter like Brock Besser?
I wasn't going to say the attribute that I was most attracted to for either of those guys was playmaking or shooting. I was going to say Brock Besser no matter what, because he is one handsome bastard. And I would love to watch that guy skate around in the Senators uniform. But
Any idea where he went to school?
UND, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. Nodak, baby.
He's a Nodak Senator in heart.
Yes,
so
sir.
let's get him in there. Let's get him in the mix. You know what? Jake Sanderson, Jacob Bernard-Docker, Shane Pinto, they walked the halls of UND and they looked up to a guy like Brock Besser.
Oh, yeah.
So what better veteran to have around than a guy like that? Yeah. I think Keller's probably the guy who's more available, but if I had to choose between the two, cost not mattering, give me Besser.
Yeah, and Derek Lee makes a good point, man. He brought up the Keller train a long time ago, and he's locked up long term at a reasonable. I think it's just over $7 million for the next 4 or 5 years. So that'd be a great acquisition for the Ottawa Senators. We've got plenty of time before trade deadline, almost a month. We've got a fun interview tomorrow with Craig Mandaglia, the producer of the Wally Mathot Show. He's going to join us on Locked On Senators. So we're looking forward to that as we inch closer to 500 episodes. Again, we are working around the clock to solidify an enormous interview for the good listener of Locked On Senators. And until it's been recorded, you won't hear a friggin' peep out of me because after JBD took a stick in the mouth, I don't want to jinx anyone else. So
we're trying to keep the boys safe out there, Ross.
That's what it comes down
to.
Be safe and score goals. The story of the Ottawa Senators. For tonight, we say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the chat. We really appreciate you engaging with the Locked On Senators podcast and at Aleem's Martian, who you can go follow his Twitter. He's got some great stuff down the pipe, and he also has clips of each and every Senators game. So next time you're in the postcast, just throw on the feed and go watch through the highlights at the same time, and we will be anxiously awaiting who is named the bike helmet recipient. After another victory, the Ottawa Senators are what now? 12-8-3 in the postcast era? Don't look now.
They're dominating in the postcast era.
Don't look now, but the Ottawa Senators are a team nobody wants to play against. We'll be back on Thursday for the postcast, but stay tuned for more Locked On Senators tomorrow. For Brandon Pillar and at Aleem's Martian, I'm Ross Levitan, wrapping up a 4-3 win for the Ottawa Senators against the Carolina Hurricanes.